Hello, welcome to our presentation titled as Coffeehouse as Classroom, an active and collaborative learning space at Indiana University. My name is Merve Başdoğan and I'm a PhD candidate at Instructional Systems Technology Department of Indiana University. In this collaborative project, I work with Dr. Anastasia Stacy Moroni. She is the Vice President for Learning Technologies Unit at Indiana University and also a Dean of IU School of Education. My other colleague, Joshua Quick, he is the Learning Data Analyst at E-Learning Research and Practice Lab. And in this project, we study innovative classroom design to encourage collaboration, flexibility, and creativity. Our perspective is that student-centered, technology-rich classrooms promote active learning. And in particular, in this project, we examine the nexus between pedagogical interactions, physical movements, and the use of technology in an active learning classroom. The name of the active learning classroom is Collaboration Café. You see some of the images from the classroom. And let's look at some of the physical features of this room. Firstly, it is equipped with movable chairs and tables to allow easy movement for group work and flexible seating. Second, the room also contains some soft and colorful sofa seating, as you can see in the first picture, in order to create a less formal learning atmosphere. Also, the abundance of natural sunlight as well as limestone decoration, wall decoration, contributes to the same less formal atmosphere. And the technology in the room includes portable whiteboards for student use and a large projection screen, as well as a teacher's station and power outlets in the floor. The room capacity is 49 and it has a polycentric design, which means it doesn't have a clearly defined front side. The Pedagogy, Space, Technology and User framework guided our study. This framework actually is the modified and adapted version of the Radcliffe's Pedagogy, Space and Technology framework. According to this modified model, users, or in other words, actors, are important elements in the learning environment. Their intention, their behaviors actually shape the interaction between pedagogy, space, and technology. Sometimes their attitudes, opinions, beliefs, or habits enhance the use of these technical, pedagogical, and special affordances, or it may hinder. And also, the learning environment is formed by the continuous interaction between these four elements. And now let's look at the methods and participants of this research. We use a mixed method research design, and our data sources included classroom recordings, room usage checklists, interviews, and our informal field notes during our visits to the classroom or data analysis process. This study was conducted in spring 2020. 14 faculty members were sent study invitation, and among these faculty, 2 of them agreed to be recorded during their classrooms, and 3 of them agreed to fill out a daily room usage checklist, and 5 of them participated open-ended survey interview, and also 10 students also answered some open-ended interview questions. For the data analysis, we analyzed 56 hours of classroom video recordings from 3 undergraduate classes using Lee, Arthur, and Moroni's analysis model developed in 2015. According to this video analysis technique, firstly, the video was segmented into 1-minute pieces, and then the speed of the video was set to the 2-time fast motion, and the video was scanned for variation until we arrived at the presence of a particular pattern. And also we use a color-coded Microsoft Excel sheet. Let me show you some of the coding scheme and descriptions. For example, under the interaction part, we looked at some instructional behaviors like teacher preparation, teacher direct instruction, monitoring, consulting, or instructor talking more than students, or students talking more than or equal than instructor, and group activity. And these are the some technology used in the class during the class, like projector, whiteboards, computers, smartboard, or student laptops, whiteboards, and the movement types, standing, roaming for teachers, students, and assistants, teaching assistants. Let me show you a piece of the colored coding sheet. If the color is darker, it means it is more teacher-centered and less collaborative. And when we move to the right-hand side, it is getting lighter, and it means higher student interactivity. Analysis of interview and checklist. For the interview analysis, we use content analysis technique. We identify two main categories: what worked well or what didn't work in the collaborative cafe. And for the checklist, weekly submitted checklists by three faculty were analyzed and recorded in a Microsoft Excel sheet, and at the end we calculated their frequency. And to ensure a trustworthy study, we followed three main strategies. The first one is peer debriefing. In our monthly meetings in the research team, we discussed each of the findings in order to control or manage our bias. And the second one is using a published coding scheme. As I mentioned earlier, we used a similar coding scheme used for the similar classroom setting. The third one is the using repeated data coding technique. As the lead author, I analyze the data in two different time intervals to see my intra-reliability. And now let's move to the findings. The first question: how do faculty and students interact in Collaboration Cafe? To answer this question, we looked at the interaction patterns, frequencies, and percentages throughout the 13 lessons. This table shows the first instructor, John. He's a public health professor, and he teaches a recreational therapy course. And according to their quantitative video analysis data, direct instruction, consulting, and the situations in which instructor talks more than students have the highest percentage of interaction. And similarly, this is the second professor, Ada. She's a computer science faculty, and she teaches web design course. And as you may see here, there are two different sections, and in each of them, direct instruction, monitoring, and consulting are the most prevalent instructional or interactional techniques used by Ada. To answer the second question, how do faculty and students use technology and space in Collaboration Cafe? We analyze the use of technology, and the projector is the most prevalently used technology with a 54.5 percentage in John's class. As for the movement, John spent almost half of his time roaming in the room and standing by specific locations. What are those locations? Although there are not a specifically designed front area in this coding sheet, we named the area between projector and the teacher computer as the front area, and John spent most of his time front area, and it was followed by teachers, computers, small groups, and middle of the classroom. Let's move to the ADAS section A and section B findings. Student laptops have the most highest percentage here. Actually, it is not surprising because it is a web design course and students use their computers classroom throughout the semester, and it was followed by teachers' computer. In terms of movement, Ada spent almost half of her time standing by different locations for section A and section B. The different finding than John's classroom, Ada has some teaching assistants, and they also stayed active during the class. And these are the locations Ada stand most. The teacher's computer is the most frequently use spot, and it was followed by small groups. To answer the second question, we also use checklists. These are the aggregated room user checklist submitted by 3 faculty members, and according to their report, projector, standard whiteboards, and huddle boards, the portable whiteboards, are the most frequently used technology in that classroom. And also, these are the instructional activities. Instructor-led lecture was the most prevalent instructional activity. Also, class-wide discussion, group projects, student work on laptops, and moving furniture for the group activities were among the other interactions. For the final research questions, which is how do faculty and students perceive classroom space and activities in collaboration cafe, we analyze interviews. Major category or theme was the seamless transition between activities in the collaboration cafe. Especially faculty stated that is the transition between the group activities and individual activities was very simple. And also, since there are a lot of natural light, they don't have to adjust the light to show a video or to make a presentation. Therefore, it also saved a lot of time for them. And some of them reported that positive things about lecturing while walking. And in terms of students' report, the community-driven atmosphere and easy use of small tables and chairs were among the positive aspects of the collaboration cafe. Classroom recordings and interviews with faculty and students consistently suggested that active learning tends to occur where the faculty rely less on the PowerPoint presentations and acknowledge the role of special and technological affordances of a classroom. In other words, uh, the faculty's choice of instructional technique shapes the use of space, technology, and students' active and collaborative learning behaviors in the classroom. The main instructional strategy commonly adopted in this study involved lecturing. Faculty were concerned with the amount of time spent on each activity to ensure covering all content via direct instruction. As argued by a PSTU framework, the activities in an innovative learning space are not independent of the actors who are involved in the learning process, directly or indirectly, such as employers, department chairs, directors, review committees, parents, students, and the instructor. Therefore, institutions' culture around teaching and learning is important to faculties' instructional choice. And let's move to the student side. Actually, student perspectives provided evidence for students' satisfaction with the flexible spaces. Especially, they reported their positive comments regarding the fluidity, I mean, the flow of the objects and individuals, and versatility, allowing multiple purposes, and scalability, which is the capability of the space to expansion or contraction. Therefore, balancing lecturing approach with active learning opportunities seems to have the potential to enhance student satisfaction. Thank you so much for listening us. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us